Nativism theory was proposed by Noam Chomsky. In this theory of language acquisition, Chomsky believed that each one of us are born with the innate ability to learn the language, and it is because of the little black box in our brain, or the LAD, the language acquisition device, and the UG, or the universal grammar. The language acquisition device in our brain composed of four innate linguistic properties. The first one is the ability to distinguish speech sounds from the other sounds in the environment. The second one is the ability to organize linguistic data into various classes that can later be defined. The other one is knowledge that only a certain kind of linguistic is possible and that the other kinds are not. And lastly, the ability to engage in a constant evaluation of developing linguistic system so as to construct the simplest possible system out of the linguistic input. Aside from that, Chomsky also believes that we have UG or universal grammar. It is our ability to differentiate noun and verb, that we have our own way of talking about past and present. We have our own way of asking questions, and we have a counting system. In this theory, we have three counter-arguments. The first one is nativism is often too theoretical and lack of scientific explanation. The second one is Chomsky tended to look more at a complex explanation in a grammar structure rather than the child itself. And lastly, the location, the Broca's and Wernicke, where lad cannot be found. The behaviorist theory was founded by J.B. Watson. In this theory, J.B. Watson believes that infants learn oral language from the other human role through imitation, rewards, and practice. It is an analysis of human behavior in observable stimulus, and stimulus is the response, and if there's response, there's reaction. I mentioned earlier that imitation are one of the reasons why a child learns or acquires a language. I will give an example. At the age of 2 to 5 years old, we tend to imitate the sound in our environment. And I think this is the reason why people say that our behavior reflects what kind of family we have. Because if the child learned to say bad words, maybe because that child hear those words in his or her own environment. Another one is rewards. It became the motivation of the child to learn and acquire the language. And we have positive and negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement happen when we tend to compliment or praise the child. For example, we hear the child say mama and dada. We praise them or we gave them candy. So next time, that child will repeat to say other words because of the candy that we gave to them. While negative reinforcement is about punishment, for example, we want the child to learn how to say mama and dada, and that child can say those words. We punish them by saying, I will never buy you toys again. So by that punishment, the child will force his or herself to learn the language.
Good day, I'm Daniel T. Floralde from Visit English 2-M3, and for this moment, I'm going to discuss my topic, which is the functional approach. First is the proponent of this approach. The proponent of this approach is Michael Halliday, and functional approach believes that children have the inherent capability to communicate since they are infant through signs called semiotics. Functionalism believes that in communicating, the structures or grammatical rules are not important, and what is important is we can understand what other people are saying, and we can communicate effectively without rules to follow in composing our language. Okay, and of course, language has its importance and functions, and here are the 7 functions of language according to Michael Halliday. First is the personal, the social interaction, instrumental, regulatory, representation, heuristic or finding something, and imaginative. And all of this function of language, according to Michael Halliday, can apply in a classroom. And of course, and it also enhances learners' autonomy and promotes self-monitoring, It also gives or give learners less stress and freedom to communicate. However, even it seems functional and important, but not for other theorists. They have to oppose some weaknesses of functional theory, including the communicative meaning over sets of rules of grammar. According to them, will lead to grammatical error in language construction. And since this approach focusing on meaning, not in form, it can't be used in formal writing.
Subsumption Theory by David Ausubel. According to him, in this theory, learning will be more efficient for the learners if they tie or align it to the prior knowledge that they had. He proposed it with the assimilation theory that learning has two types, which are meaningful learning and rote learning. Meaningful learning is learning a topic into its deep context, but rote learning is still learning but in a minimal state that a person tends to forget what he learned in a short period of time. Osubel also add that pruning is important for our brain to manage the information that our mind is absorbing for it not to be overcrowded. Pruning is deleting the unimportant informations for the new ones to enter. The counter-arguments or weaknesses found in this theory. There is only one, which is researchers didn't find any constructions of organizers, so they are the one who made them for efficiency of their study. Humanistic psychology theory is by Carl Rogers. According to Rogers, this theory explains how the persons shape their mental state, how they gain their confidence, look for themselves, think about themselves, and love themselves. The importance of viewing your self-worth is that it will deal on how you process things that happens or might happen to you. Self-image is who you are or how you see yourself, and ideal self is how you visualize yourself or how you want yourself to become. The counter-arguments or weaknesses of this theory is that Rogers only focused on the good things or happy happenings and disregarded the importance of experiencing trials and hardships in life. He disregarded the big lessons that we might learn from those bad happenings.